What's up? What's up? You too? What up? What up? So it's like we got a little different cast today. So this is the No Holds Barred. I'm gonna be your host today. Obviously you know me. My co-host Alex, he's out for tonight, but we have a guy that's been on a few times on our show, and then we have our number one fan. So it's gonna be a great show today. Once again, my name is Alfred Hollywood Matthews. If you should know me by now and everything, and I'm gonna let the other two introduce themselves.
Alfred's got the most over name since Adam Cole, baby. No. All right. Thank you, gentlemen, for having me. I am your guest host for today, Ryan. Let me talk to you, Taylor.
I gotta love you. And guys, you know who I am.
Yes,
I'm Evan Finstanza. You can't catch me on every show on the network, whether it's on the pregame shows, postgame shows, NFL, Finn's Bandwagon. I jump on all the different shows, and I'm here to produce most of the shows in the background. So I love coming on the wrestling show as a diehard wrestling fan.
Right, yeah. I really enjoy Evan coming filling in most of the time on the show and everything. I like his perspective on things when we talk different topics and things like that. And then with Ryan, it's kind of weird because Ryan before Ryan, he wasn't into wrestling like he used to be and everything. No. I feel kind of guilty at the same time. It's like, dang, I really got him back talking wrestling, even though I shouldn't be like, oh dang, I'm the reason why he's like back watching wrestling and everything. But I enjoy Ryan's perspective as well and everything. So
it feels like Alfred, you ain't guilty.
So it feels like we haven't been on this show in a while. So just letting the listeners know going forward that we'll have a show every other Thursday now instead of every Thursday. So it'll be every other Thursday now. So just giving us time to recuperate and things like that. So just letting everybody know ahead of time that it's going to be every other Thursday. So just letting people know. So first topic I want to go over real quick. We have a lot of topics to discuss today. It's going to be very interesting ones and things like that. So we're going to start off with the AEW. I call it Ancient Elders Wrestling, but this topic right here, this isn't an elder wrestler. I mean, he could be elder depending on how you view him and everything like that. No. But CM Punk. So obviously we know the story what CM Punk has done since he came back to AEW and things like that. So if you know by now CM Punk, he got fired by AEW. So the topic I want to kind of go over and things like that is CM Punk's career over in this instance. If whoever want to start it off and things like that, and we can discuss it and have a little roundtable discussion about that. His career is over in period in wrestling, or you think he might show up to WWE eventually, or how do y'all feel? Because I have something to say about that.
So you remember that show on MTV back in the day? It was Viva La Bam, Bam Margera. You know, he had that running gag about don't feed Phil.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So I say don't feed into Phil here. Okay. Look, if I hire Alfred and I put him in accounting and he has a problem in accounting, so I move him over to quality control. He has a problem in quality control. So I move him to customer service and he has a problem there too. At what point do we look at the common denominator? When do we start? You know, if you got problems everywhere you go, or something smells funny everywhere you go, you know, maybe take a sniff. You know, maybe it's you. Maybe it's you. And I, no, I wasn't there for his initial WWE run. I did see some of his matches. SummerSlam with John Cena. I mean, I'm all for somebody smacking Cena in the face every now and then. I'm fine with that. At that point, he could go in the ring. But at this point, when do we start looking at, is it me?
Okay. Did you want to go, Evan?
I'm over CM Punk. Phil Brooks. He's sort of like you wonder why he hasn't found. He always wants to be the star. Like I sort of feel like you look at the old. I know they're older, but you look at the old timers. You still see Double J, and you still see Billy Gunn. You still see these other wrestlers that find their niche. in different elements, but he is trying to still be the star, and he doesn't have that.
Still,
I don't think he has the I don't think he has the endurance to still go the way he used to. And I just don't think he has the crowd appeal. I think it's just he gets a nice little pop at the beginning, but it sort of like dies out a little bit. I sort of compare him a little bit to the crowd when he reacts, so like a Cody Rhodes, like a Sami Zayn, where they get to him right at the beginning, but they've been able to sustain it. He can't sustain it because he's very polarizing, right? That's the one thing about him. He doesn't play to the crowd. So if he, that's one thing. If he could really become a face, maybe it would work. The problem is he always had that. He always tried to thread the line between being a heel and being a face, and I don't think he ever could find his niche. And for me, no offense, I always told you that. I think I told you this on another show. The only time I'd ever want to see Phil Brooks is if AJ's with him. Like that's the star of that family right now. Although she's holding the pants in that family. She's more successful in her post wrestling career, doing the stuff that she's doing with her book, with her mental health and the other wrestling elements than he is. He's trying to hold on to the nostalgia of yore, and that doesn't work anymore.
No,
doesn't work at all.
Okay. I mean, if you know me following the show and things like that, and if you know me, like I'm a huge CM Punk fan. Like I don't watch AEW like that.
No.
But when he was in WWE, that was like my number one.
Fix your boy.
My number one favorite wrestler at the time that was active when he was obviously in WWE. My dream match, obviously we're not gonna see it ever, but my dream match potentially was CM Punk versus Stone Cold. I would have loved to see that with the straight edge lifestyle, and then Stone Cold with his beer drinking and things like that. It would have been a amazing, like, storyline, a match or something like that, even though Stone Cold was obviously past his prime. But CM Punk was always my favorite. When CM Punk debuted in AEW, I tuned in, even I don't watch AEW, I tuned in on that show just specifically to see CM Punk return. Like I was a huge fan of him. Then things turned, just like when Evan was saying, like he got tired of CM Punk. That's how I am now. It's just like when you dating a chick or something like that, a girl or something, and things like that. Initially at the beginning, it's like, oh, she's like my dream girl. She's everything and things like that and everything. And then it's like once you get to kind of know her well and things like that, it's like the rust off. It's like, oh, dang, I didn't know you was like this now and things like that. It's just how I feel about CM Punk.
The cute stuff gets annoying after a while.
It gets annoying. It gets annoying at the time. It's like I used to be a main defender when CM Punk when he left WWE the way he left WWE. I was kind of on CM Punk's side at the time. I'm not even going front.
I'll define CM Punk's his wrestling career in a very simple comparison. When he came out, Rocky 1, phenomenal. Then he sort of dipped a little bit in Rocky 2. Then Rocky 3, he built himself back up. Then he hit the echelon in Rocky 4, and now his AEW career at the beginning was so cool. Rocky 5,
and then
that's what he is. He is Rocky 1 to 5. He's had that element, and he's hit his Rocky 5, and maybe in a couple of years he'll be able to do Rocky Balboa, and then he'll be able to switch. And then someone he knows will do Creed, but that's what his career has been. He's hit the Rocky 5. That he had his echelon, and then we all thought, oh, Rocky 5 is going to be amazing after beating Ivan Drago. Then it went. That's what his AEW career has been to me.
Yeah, that's actually a very good, very good analogy.
Exactly what it is.
That's a very good one.
I would have said Godfather, but yeah, there's been more Rockies than Godfather.
More Rocky than Godfather.
There's more Rockies than Godfather. So yeah, but we know, one was hey, and then 2, 3.
Four is amazing.
But yeah, 4. Yeah, 3 is my all-time favorite Rocky. That's like my all-time.
It's 3, 4. I would say 3. It's 3, then 4, then 1,
then
3, then 5.
When it reaches speaking at 5 was just straight off.
2 was the worst. 2 was the worst.
That's a very good analogy. Yeah. Now, as far as him potentially returning to WWE,
no room.
I'm kind of on the fence. On one hand, I can kind of see it happening, and hear me out on this one. I can kind of see that happening. I know he has his issues with Triple H and Vince, things like that, but. We know Khan, he bought WWE, and he's with UFC and things like that. And CM Punk has a very good relationship with UFC. And I read something prior to that, before the show started and things like that, where they asked Khan about it, and Khan basically kind of look, not I won't say brush it off, but he basically kind of said he when we're talking about Nick Khan, when I say Khan, he basically was saying that he wished CM Punk that he has respect for him and things like that, and what he tried to do with UFC and everything. They appreciate his UFC run and everything, and then he has like kind of respect and he wished him the best. So it kind of wasn't saying, oh, I don't anticipate him coming back to WWE. But I wouldn't rule out the possibility of him coming back, to be honest. And
there was the wish you the best, but there was maybe a little undertone of we wish you the best, but don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Right. Yeah, I kind of
he's too polarizing. Honestly, he won't get the reaction. There's so many guys right now in the WWE that are polarizing that they're trying to build around. So they had that with Sami Zayn. Now they have it with main event Jey Uso. You have the whole thing with Gunther, who still sucks. You still have you have Roman Reigns, and you have the Bloodline. You have Judgment Day. There's so much there that they need to figure out. And now what happened on Raw this past week, and there's so much going on. Maybe towards WrestleMania, maybe if he wants to, but I don't see. There's too much to get through now between now and what's going on in NXT. Like it's just like there's so much going on. There's no room for CM Punk right now. No. They need him. If Brock Lesnar doesn't want to come back and they want a cheap pop, they want a quick pop next SummerSlam, or they want to do something funny at Royal Rumble, I don't care. Throw him in there, but to get to an extended run, they still have to figure out Cody Rhodes and his plan. Like there's so much to figure out because they're buying their time with Cody Rhodes and trying to figure out putting him with freaking Grayson Waller and back with Dominic. It's like they have so many storylines to try to hassle out. They don't have time for CM Punk. CM Punk is a headache for them. It's not a joy.
No, he's not gonna get what he wants. He's gonna take his ball and go home.
Oh, you can go around. What were you saying? Oh, you finished.
I'm saying I agree with that there's no room for him. You know, there's just no room. You can only, I wear an extra large. I'm not going to squeeze into a medium. Why? Yeah. There's no room. If they try, he's going to take his ball and go home.
The only place he could maybe, if he really wanted to go do it, the only place that would take him is, and it's sort of what Sasha did, is go to NJPW. You want to go to Japan? They'll gladly open you up you'll fit very well in Japan.
Yeah.
Go to Japan.
They'll smack you in the nose over there too. That's what they do.
Exactly.
Then my next question is, on staying on the CM Punk topic, do y'all actually think the fans, I'm talking about WWE fans, will actually accept him coming back? You don't think so? You don't think
unless
half and half?
The only way I think it would
be
put
half
it this way:
too.
the only way, there's only one person who could turn CM Punk back into a star.
I know who you're gonna say too.
Then say his name.
Paul Heyman.
It's the only way.
Yeah, you're
only way.
Right.
If you get Paul Heyman behind him, maybe you can make it work. The way he got Brock Lesnar to work, because it doesn't matter what you did with Roman Reigns and how people think he's the GOAT. No Paul Heyman, no Tribal Chief. Yeah. It's as simple as that.
You're right, and you could go down a whole list of people. Paul Heyman as like,
but it's not even that. The managers fit well. That's like when you had Bobby the Brain Heenan, Jimmy Hart, Paul Heyman. These guys, they fit in well. They like Miss Elizabeth from Match Man. There's people who fit in well with people. You need to have that mouthpiece because if you're not that star needs to have a complementary person in order to be successful. Right, like that's always been something, right? Like NWO was huge on their own, but they had Eric Bischoff always in the background there. Like you always have someone pushing you. You always need to have that mouthpiece that's there, right? That's always what you need, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's and I'm not sure.
Paul Heyman could take some of the hate off it.
Yeah, he would kick off the hate.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But speaking on the Paul Heyman topic, actually. Not sure if you all saw SmackDown this past Friday, but with Paul Heyman at LA Knight,
yeah,
a little teaser, thing like that. How would you feel? And me personally, obviously, I don't want to see LA Knight ever turn heel at the moment, at the very moment, because he's so hot. He's so hot right now. It's like he's on fire. Things like that, but it's rather interesting that they actually had that segment on SmackDown, like about that and things like that. How would you all feel of a potential Heyman LA Knight alliance down the line?
It doesn't work. He has his own voice.
Right.
He doesn't need
exactly.
him.
That's the main. That's
He
the
doesn't
main
need
thing
him.
I was going to say.
He doesn't need to
Like,
speak for him.
I think I think honestly, and I think WWE kind of on this past Friday, they just ran out of ideas or anything or
They were bored.
scripts or something like that,
Yeah.
and they were bored and everything and had that segment. That's interesting when we mentioned Paul Heyman. That's the what I was
stuff. Sorry, PG. Throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks.
yeah, basically.
We're on YouTube. There is no PG.
Oh well, fine. Throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks.
right.
Exactly. No, that's really what it was. Like, I think they're trying to just test things out. Sort of like it's just when you mix the heels, like when you sort of put that, you want people to question it a little bit, but in the end, LA Knight is so goddamn. He is more over right now. He is more over right now than Cody and Sammy at this point. Like,
and that's really that's saying something.
He's not going to lose a match till he wins a title. He's not going to lose a match till he wins a title.
And the question is which title he's going to win.
He's going to win the Intercontinental Championship. He's going to win that title.
That's true.
Yeah.
Because like I said, Gunther is going for the World Championship one day. I actually think he should be the guy to dethrone Seth. But that's what I'm saying. When I always tell people Gunther sucks.
Gunther win the Rumble and go on to
Gunther sucks, not because not because of his talent. It's because I'm tired of him holding on to that belt because we already have that with the Tribal Chief. We don't need that with him too.
Yeah,
right.
Well, he needed the record because the guy that held it before only held it so long because Jake the Snake couldn't pass a drug test.
Exactly.
Right.
You know, they don't want that. They don't want that black eye on the history of the title. So let's
they can take it away from him.
Let's let Gunther here, hold the damn thing for however long, just long enough to beat, Elvis 2.0 over there, honky tonk. Which I kind of like the guy.
Which he did,
yeah. And so now that he's done it, it's time to move on. But I'm gonna take it back just a little bit, and y'all can throw me out and tell me I'm crazy or whatever you want. But who I would think would be fun to see Paul Heyman with, because I do like the guy, and he's finding his voice, I think. But I think maybe he could use a little bit of a mouthpiece if he was ever to be on his own, which I think they all should be. I'd like to see him with Damian Priest.
Yep. Yeah, that would work. Because
right now, but let me talk to you. Put him on Damian.
I don't believe Damian Priest is a champion with Judgment Day. Like, I don't see him winning the belt.
I can see that as well. I think they just gave it to him because you have to think if they wanted somebody to win the Money in the Bank to actually have a realistic chance of winning the title, they would have gave it to LA Knight right then and there.
But
yeah,
there's something right now, WWE, and we'll talk about it because it's on your topic list. You got a sense of where a particular faction might be heading very quickly after how Monday Night Raw, what took place on Monday night. But we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Like I said, we're gonna talk about that. Yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where I'm leaning with, because I don't think they're a long-term plan with that group anymore. I'm very convinced it's going to break very quickly.
And I'm fine with it because 75% of them will do just fine on their own.
The fact that Dominic Mysterio told Jey Uso the group doesn't have a leader. That's all I need. That's all I needed to know about like that group. That they don't plan on having that group any longer right there. That key sentence right there. Yeah. That kind of led me to believe. Yeah, you're right. They might actually end the group actually. Yeah. So with that in mind, Jey Uso, back on Monday Night Raw, came in. He opened up the segment on last week. Kevin Owens still don't trust him.
Well, I wonder why.
Yeah, and I was gonna say.
Wonder why.
Anytime you get super kicked on accident and everything,
to the face, I'm not gonna trust you.
I'm definitely gonna trust you and things like that. You super kicked me, so we know the story is kind of from the beginning and things like that. So I won't go dig too heavy and everything. Why Sammy and Kevin Owens with the Usos, they feuded at WrestleMania, had the match. Sammy obviously welcomed Jey Uso back due to their history, but Kevin Owens still on the fence about Jey Uso and things like that. In the end, I just mentioned at the end of their tag team match, because they teamed up Owens and Jey. Jey accidentally super kicked Kevin Owens. Do y'all think it's potentially a feud between that's the best way to say it. Jay being in between a potential feud with Sammy and
I know where you're headed, and
Kevin Owens.
I had it in my
Obviously,
notes.
that means
I know where
Kevin
you're
Owens
headed,
going to turn heel.
and that's
But-
fine because nobody's gonna buy Sami Zayn heel when he looks like freaking Jesus.
Jesus, right? Exactly.
Nobody's gonna buy that, and yeah,
And Owens to me make a badass heel more than he does a face anyway.
He does. He has the look, and I go back to NXT Revolution when they're he's all happy go lucky walking up the ramp with Sammy, his buddy, and then bam, clothesline. Like, whoa,
right.
Why, Kevin? Why? I didn't see that.
I know
this time we will, but.
And some people probably will be like, "Hey, we seen this Sammy and Kevin all feud all like for years and things like that." I say bring it back. Honestly, I know they might be old and everything, but with this new element with Jay in the mix, like I'm all for it on Raw. How do you feel about it, Evan? Or
I know I have a feeling that it sort of has that feel. I sort of feel like it's the basically the mega powers minus Elizabeth, and basically Jey Uso's Elizabeth. Like Sammy's gonna have to choose between Kevin and Jay, and basically Kevin's gonna make the decision for him at one point. He'll be macho, and he'll end up being. Something's gonna happen there. Right? There's gonna end up being a feud between the three, and they're gonna build that up towards the Rumble, and we'll see what happens there. But basically in the end it's going to end up being like Jey Uso's never turning heel again. Like it's just he's too much of a face right now. You see the crowd reaction, but he's going to get into it with a lot of guys. He's going to overcome the way, but he's also going through what Kevin Owens went through. Kevin Owens was not a believable face for a while, and then he had to build it up, and then he would flip back. But he's a more natural heel, right?
Yeah,
like he fits well more as a heel. Like just remember, not even a year ago, the whole thing with Stone Cold. Then you had the thing with Seth Rollins. Like he has his moments. He's that one guy where you could turn him face one day, turn him heel another day, and he'll still be liked.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Kevin Owens could go out and drop kick kittens, and people would, people still love him.
I told Ryan this earlier. You probably gonna disagree, Evan, but an unpopular opinion. I know they say Jey Uso is main event Jey Uso and everything like that. I'm not buying it yet.
No, I don't buy it.
I'm not buying it yet. Not yet. I said it from the
he's not a main eventer.
What has he done?
Exactly.
What has he done? Besides pin his cousin, didn't he? But like other than big deal. Okay, yeah. But
right.
I feel like what has he done?
I feel like Jay
he's
has
just a good crowd, but he's a phenomenal entertainer. He's not a main eventer.
Right. I think he has to like prove it more, like along like a few more, like I won't say months, but like several matches he had to prove it.
How many years did it take Kofi Kingston to become a main eventer?
Exactly, and how many years did it take Drew McIntyre to be a main eventer?
Big E, like they all had to suffer through, like they had to earn it until like him to become a main eventer. He has to win a Money in the Bank. He has to go deep in a Royal Rumble. He has to lead a team to something. He's never done that.
Exactly.
Right.
That's absolutely true.
He wasn't like Sami Zayn, who won. Like people could criticize Sami, but Sami was an NXT champion. He did come up as he came up with his brother. He was not an individual. Kevin Owens will be forever beloved because of what he did to John Cena when he came up. Like there's different ways to become, and then but he's always been tied to his family, so they have to build him up.
Right. Yeah. That's absolutely true on that one.
No, I didn't.
But
I only disagree with Alex.
Oh, Alex, I was like, Alex, my boy Alex probably thinks that and everything, but like
I can't believe he chose tennis over wrestling tonight.
Tennis over wrestling. Alex, we're gonna get you, Alex, on that one.
I can't picture him coaching tennis, so I just must tell you. Doesn't have the look.
Wow.
Imagine you're a kid and you're a parent and you walk up and hey, there's your tennis coach. That's Alex Brown. They go, turn around, walk the other way.
Yeah, like wait a minute. No, this isn't football. What? No.
By the way, how many good Jewish tennis players do you know? Come on. And I'm Jewish. I could say that.
Well, I don't even know tennis players like that off the bat. Like
I don't either. If it's not John McEnroe, I don't know.
If it ain't the Serena, the Williams sisters, and Andre Agassi, like I'm stumped. I don't know what that means. Everything.
Yeah, I can only sort of say it. Quarter Jewish. I can.
Yeah. But there's actually an actual return that happened on Monday night.
Oh, I was so.
I loved it.
You
should have seen. You should have seen my reaction when it happened. Like I'm just like having that like just like a blank stare, just watching. I didn't have no emotion or anything like that, just watching. So Nia Jax returned at the end of the match, the women's match. Um, to be honest, I'm shocked she didn't botch her return coming back because she did. they definitely botched it at the Royal Rumble. Seeing it in person, they actually botched her entrance at the Royal Rumble. So I was expecting her to be a botch and everything. She actually looked good I'm talking about like size wise now.
She lost a ton of weight. She lost a ton
of weight and things like that. However, I'm still not a fan of Nia Jax. Never really was a fan of Nia Jax and things. What do you all think like the reasoning or logistics of them bringing WWE bringing back Nia Jax or in that instance? Because you got to think she came back during the main event. So obviously they had probably a big moment.
I have two thoughts.
It's like that's a big thing coming back, making a return in the main event, and she's a women's wrestler. Like that's actually they probably have like something huge for her. That leads me to believe. So how do y'all like your honest opinion of Nia Jax as a wrestler and everything, and what do you think the plans for her to come back? What do you think they have for her?
Go for it, Ryan. If you want to go first.
So I got to lead with I wasn't there, wasn't around for her initial runs, but when so for things that I don't know too much about before the show, I go look up some stuff, do my notes, and when someone in their Wikipedia article has an entire section devoted to their botches, come on now. Let's yeah.
She has a whole Wikipedia
not safe to work with. Is not safe to work with, and when somebody's got more botches than that plastic surgeon that hangs out in the back alley behind the free clinic, no, I'm not all for it. I think maybe they're trying to have someone be a credible threat to Rhea Ripley so she can, for the love of God, stop being a glorified babysitter. She deserves so much better than that. I mean, when I first started watching again, I'm looking at this woman, I'm like, damn, this something they building her like the next, China 2.0 or something. And now she's a glorified babysitter. So, I mean, I may not be hyped about this Nia Jax person, but anybody that can give Rhea something that doesn't have Dominic Mysterio up there, I'm for it. I'm for it. We'll see. I'm for it.
So I think it's twofold. Number one, Nia Jax, the Triple H loves Nia Jax. I'll put it that way. He developed her. She was she destroyed people in NXT. She did very well for herself at the beginning of WWE. By the way, Becky Lynch can thank her for her becoming who she is because the moment she threw that punch, the man appeared. The man existed because of that moment. But for me, she came back. She looked better than she had before. They expected it. They did a lot. She's a very athletic person for what she is. And I personally think there's two ways they're going to go about this. One, they're going to use her to separate Raquel from Rhea for a little while. And they're going to basically go Raquel versus Nia in that battle. Or second, the only other thing plausible thing, and that's what I wanted to bring up earlier, is the whole thing with JD McDonough. I think it's going to cause a major rift, and that Balor will end up going with JD McDonough, and then there's going to be a split of Judgment Day. And the reason I say that is fans like to cheer for when fans start really cheering for heels, they want them to turn face. And I have a feeling there's this feeling about it that Rhea will perform better as a face than as a heel. And I think what they did is by her getting squashed and destroyed by Nia Jax will make it easier for everyone to cheer Rhea more and turn her into a face. Sort of what we did with Drew McIntyre. Like there's just something about her with Sammy, because even when Sammy was a heel, you saw him during War Games, people still cheered for Sammy. There's something about that, the mentality of that person in that group who really looks like the de facto leader. You want to cheer for them, and I have a feeling that could be the end goal. They're gonna Dominic. She built up Dominic to what he is. He'll be a pain in the ass somewhere else. Finn will go with JD McDonough. Then what's his name? Damian Priest will lose the briefcase or figure something out there if he ties to somebody else. If I was him, I would apologize.
Anyway?
I would somehow, if I was him, I'd become the lead. I would tie myself to LWO somehow. Like he belongs in LWO long term, if that could ever happen. But I think Rhea long term turns face, and Nia Jax becomes the reason why, and that ends up becoming.
I mean,
Goliath.
That Rhea turning face like kind of remind me, and they're obviously similar type wrestlers with Chyna. Yeah. When she became a fan favorite and she was having her feuds with Jared and like those type of matches. Jericho, and then when she beat Ivory at WrestleMania for the Women's Championship, it's like people were behind her as a face more than when she was a heel, obviously. You know, she was in DX and things like that. She was still getting cheers as a heel in DX because she was like at the time like
that was ridiculous. People were cheering DX.
I was the main women's wrestler that was like a tough SOB. And then when she turned face, like she was getting even more like pushing things like that.
Do you remember when she was facing she wrestled Pat Patterson and Gerald Briscoe and people were just laughing their asses off? Like it was hilarious.
Right. Exactly. So it's like I said, that's actually pretty too good perspective direction.
I think they want to turn her heel. I think they really want to turn her face. They just don't know what to do. They just don't know what to do with Dominic. That's the problem. Where do you put Dominic?
I know what to do with him.
Back to NXT.
We all know what to do with him, but
go to NXT.
Let me talk to you. I'll tell you what to do with him.
Right. Like I said, I think that's the. I think the former actually might happen. They're gonna have Nia Jax first fight Raquel Rodriguez first. And then probably leading to Maria Ripley. Once they decide what they want to do with Rhea, things like that. I can see that, but I have no intentions of seeing Nia Jax like that. Have a push and things like that. She had her chance. She had plenty of chances, honestly. It's just I just can't. It's like once you have a stigma in wrestling, it's hard to get away from that stigma. In my opinion,
to CM Punk,
with CM Punk, like. Nia Jax with the botches. Who else? Like, what's a good wrestler has a stigma? With Kevin Nash, when they make the quad jokes and things like that. Like, if he comes back right now, he gonna get quad jokes already. Hey, I'm shocked he's able to walk and things like that. He didn't break his quad. You know, like stigmas like that. You know, things is like hard. It's like hard to break away from that and things like that. So that's why I'm not a huge like fan of Nia Jax. I honestly think they should have just. They could have used that spot for somebody else to make a return, honestly. But I'm not the one writing the checks and things. So
the only female wrestler that they'll ever be able to bring back, if they want to, that will get the greatest pop in the history of pops, is yours and my favorite female wrestler of all time. We all know who that is. We're waiting for her to come back because she's injured, and she'll end up in AEW. And that's Sasha. Yeah. That's it. That's the only person.
Sasha. Okay, I say Lita.
That would have been amazing.
Okay.
Not Lita.
Lita's too old.
No, Sasha. Like
Sasha. Yeah. If they were able to, like I said, if they were.
But also, if you look at AEW quickly, what was actually nice to see, like you should. Did you see the pop that Jade Cargill got when she came back? Like she gets booed all the time. She came back last week on Friday, and she got the biggest pop I think she's ever received in her life when she came back.
And speaking of Jade Cargill. I mean, like I said, I'm not.
Who they could have used the Nia Jax spot for.
Right, exactly. So,
you know who she's married to? You don't understand. She's married to this former retired baseball player who I think is a tenth of her size. I think she could pick him up with one hand. It's incredible.
Oh, he might be 10 feet tall, standing on his wallet. Though.
Right. So, speaking of Jade Cargill, I mean, like I said, I don't follow AEW like that. But apparently. It's a rumor that she's actually headed to WWE when her AEW contract is up.
I'm
pretty sure you heard about it, Evan. And things. I'll let you talk more about how you feel about that, or what you can, what we might can expect if she were to come to WWE and things like this. Since you know more,
a little bit
about that and everything. I had to admit I have to do a little bit more research.
I'd have to do a little more research. She'd be a perfect fit for WWE. Like honestly, like she has the look, she has the style. like I said, she's like that. She has that sort of feel of China, but she also has that. She can go against any power. She has the athleticism of any of a high flyer. Like imagine her versus Charlotte. Just imagine that match. It's just like the talent, the power, the strength. She'd be a perfect fit for WWE. She gets lost a little bit in AEW. That's for me. I think she'd be a right. I think she thinks.
Would you rather see her on Raw or SmackDown? Who would you rather? Who would you rather?
I wanted for her first.
Who would you rather see her feud with? Like her first.
I just said Charlotte. That's
Oh, you said Charlotte. Okay.
Charlotte,
okay. So on SmackDown. Okay.
Right off the bat.
Okay. Yeah. Like I said, I gotta do a little bit more research and see like some matches over and things like that and everything. I admit I never.
She's the best. She's the next best.
Like
She'd be Beth Phoenix. She basically beat Beth Phoenix, basically.
She would be better. Oh wow!
Now I really got to go look.
Right. I gotta see that.
You've never like literally. She's phenomenal talent.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So another topic I want to dig in. And we keeping the topic right now. Staying on it with the women's wrestlers. So I knew Becky Lynch was fighting Tiffany Stratton on NXT. I seen it was advertised and everything on Tuesday and things. My first thought was like, why in the world is Becky Lynch going over there to NXT?
I know.
I kind of know the reason why, and probably gonna coincide with what we're gonna talk about in a few minutes after this. But I didn't see NXT, but when I saw the next day, that Wednesday, and I seen what the spoilers were. And I saw Becky Lynch winning the NXT championship. It was like, oh shoot, like, and apparently it was a very great match. I saw the ending of it on YouTube, and apparently it was from what I've read and what I saw, most of it was a very, very great match and things like that. Just what are y'all like thoughts on like another like quote unquote Raw and SmackDown wrestler coming over to NXT and winning a championship?
They did it for one reason and one reason only. Becky Lynch right now doesn't have a feud to get to the championship, and she is because it's funny, she main evented WrestleMania. She's the first ever person to win both championships at WrestleMania and was one of the longest running champions ever. But she was the last of the 4 horsewomen to win the Grand Slam championship. Right. And they just wanted to give her that nugget. You could lose it in a week. They wanted to give her the Grand Slam. She's the last one to hit the Grand Slam. And for everything that she's done for WWE and how over she is with the fans, they wanted to give that to her. The same thing they did with Charlotte. I think they want more eyes on NXT. And so they're putting Becky there for a little while.
Yeah. So you think it's going to be like a completely short run between?
No, I think she will. I think it's for her. She'd probably give up the title at some point. I don't see her going there every Tuesday and defending it. I don't see someone necessarily because I don't see a Tiffany Stratton taking it back from her, and a Roxanne Perez is not going to go get it. Like, there's no real it'd have to be a triple threat match. Like, it'd have to sort of be what happened with Charlotte, where she had a match with Io Sky at the time. Now it's Io Sky. And then she lost, and I forget who the other person in the match was. Was it Rhea? I think it was Rhea. She lost the match on a pay-per-view to Io, but it was a triple threat match. I could see her losing the match without getting pinned. So it doesn't hurt her cred, her street cred, but she's not losing a match outright to an NXT star. Unless it's a real up-and-comer who we don't know about yet. Because there's no one on the roster who's going there and beating Becky. Like, there's just nobody. Like, Io was coming up, and it was like sort of like, and she was already a star. But like, it's like there's no one there. Like, unless they brought down Asuka or they brought down another WWE talent to battle for it, there's no one really there right now, unless they're developing somebody.
Yeah, and then if you bring down another WWE, it's like, why'd you bring down another WWE to have them fight in NXT? Why not have them fight in WWE? Like, have them stay. Like, why? I don't. That wouldn't make sense. But no, I agree with how you said. She was the last one of them, 4 horsewomen to never. Never to not win it. And Bailey, she actually took a little dig at her and said it took you long enough. And I said, I like smart aleck heel Bailey. I like, but you know what, heel or not, I'd still let her hug me.
Yeah.
I'd still let her hug me.
Yeah. Like I said, it's been 6 grand champions in women's wrestling, and like I said, she's the 6th one. everything. So it's been like 5 of the wrestlers. I mean, that makes sense why they had her like win the title.
Yeah, because who
I
had it
knew,
before?
like,
Asuka's
well,
had it. Now
oh,
she's a four. Who's the other one? Rhea? No, Rhea.
Rhea. Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
Rhea,
Rhea, Asuka, Sasha, Bailey,
Charlotte,
and Becky.
and great talent and everything. Like once I saw that Becky Lynch was advertised to take fight Tiffany Stratton, I knew I knew then and there that Becky was gonna win. Becky was gonna win that match off the gate and everything. And I know Stratton is a pretty good big thing in NXT and things, but I knew, like I said, once they have them WWE wrestlers come over there, it's like,
she actually was sort of like Tiffany Stratton is sort of like the beginning heel of Charlotte when Charlotte first became a heel in WWE. That's what Tiffany Stratton is there. It's like so. I think they just want to. She'll win back the belt. She might get the belt back, but she'll win it with very devious means.
Gotcha.
Like basically, someone has to take out Becky for Tiffany to win the belt. She's not going to win it straight up. It'll be interference. It's going to be something shady. But then Becky will come back up. Like I have a feeling, I wouldn't be Becky. They have to figure out what they're going to do with Becky because you now know that the Raw title is really like the championship that Rhea has. You know who the people are fighting for over the next couple of months, and it's so goddamn crowded with like. That's the thing about EO. I'm happy that you won the belt, but like, there's no the SmackDown that title has lost so much pizzazz all of a sudden because Bianca is doing her own thing right now. She's not really around shaking a break. Charlotte is sort of helping out Shotzi, and it's like there's no real challenge for that belt. I feel like there's not going to be a real challenger for that belt probably to like for a while. Like that belt's going to be secondary right now for a while.
Okay, so these next two topics kind of going to go together. So I'm gonna mention them both real quick. So this past Monday Night Raw had its second lowest viewership since the company started.
I can tell you why.
What was that?
I could easily tell you why. His name is Aaron Rodgers.
So yeah,
the NFL Monday Night Football could crush them.
Right, I was about to say, especially like when you got Rodgers playing. Yeah,
he played 4 plays.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you seen Ryan seen the Ryan saw the meme I showed him. It's funny because
who's your team, Ryan?
I'm feeling the love. I'm feeling the love in Green Bay. I'm feeling the love.
Are you where do you live? I never asked you where you live.
I'm in Houston.
You're in Houston. Oh, you're in Houston, but you're a Packers fan too?
Yep.
Well, so you're part of the Dave Stager and Alex secondary team crowd. Okay?
Yeah.
I told everybody Jordan Love, Matt LaFleur got
run things
news taken around from his neck.
Yep.
The moment he got rid he trust me, he wanted Jordan Love. He did not want Aaron Rodgers anymore. He was tired of it.
That just is what it is. And
he's part of the Shanahan tree. They don't want. They don't need star quarterbacks. They do not need superstar quarterbacks to win. They need systems.
I know it was the Bears, and the worst team, whatever. But I'm still feeling the love. I don't want to get off topic, but I saw a lot more finishing and going until the whistle on both sides of the ball from Green Bay than I've seen in a while. They've always been had a lot of talent, individual talent at various positions, but when it came time to play punch them in the damn mouth football, they kind of got pushed around a little bit. And that, last week they pushed back, and I'm all for it. I'm glad to see it. They're putting their head down to get that extra yard, or the pursuit and wrapping up the tackle. Mobile quarterbacks have always given them fits. Yeah. And there were some come on really type moments with Justin Fields, but I think they handled a mobile quarterback better than they've done in my recent memory. And I'm always going to be, it's I thought better of I don't want to, again, I'm sorry, I don't want to go off the tangent here, but I thought Green Bay fans were better than this. And there's been stuff about, it making memes about it. If one more person sends me a damn meme, I swear to God, I'm going to flip the table. But, there's a difference between that or being indifferent about Aaron Rodgers because he's not a Packer anymore. Nobody wants to sound like a bitter ex that can't accept that the relationship is over. There's a lot of that. But, when I started seeing people that were almost, amused or entertained by what happened to him, look, if you're the type to celebrate anybody being injured like that, your daddy should have pulled out.
Yeah.
you're just a crap person. And then
Well,
that's
I don't know if I told you that I mentioned on my other show how there's a bar in Wisconsin that basically whenever the Jets and the Packers aren't playing at the same time, which I think happens 8 times this season, that they will cover if the Jets lose, they will cover the bar tab of every single person in the bar. And when the Jets actually won that football game, that bar made a mint. Because when he went down, people started chugging like you've never seen.
Oh yeah. Everybody
But
thought
what I was about to say was that Ryan saw the meme I mentioned. Speaking of Aaron Rodgers, we were talking about Rocky earlier. So it was the meme was like, what was it? How it go, Ryan? Like, at the top it was
Rocky. There's him at the beginning, and then
so Rocky 4, Rocky 4 when Apollo Creed came out with that interest and everything. So he was on the part where he was like dancing next to that bull.
Living
so it was like
in
Aaron Rodgers walking. So Aaron Rodgers like at the top of the meme it was like Aaron Rodgers into MetLife, and it had that part, and then it says Aaron Rodgers like I forgot how the caption went, but it got the part where Apollo Creed was like laying down on the mat. Like it was like a funny meme. That was rolling.
Yeah.
But what I was saying was I mean, that's probably the reason why Raw, I'm pretty sure it is the reason why Raw this past Monday had a low rating, because you can't compete with Monday Night Football like that, especially the first week of the season. Like the Jets and the Bills, that's like a big division game right there, especially with the Jets getting Aaron Rodgers. Like that's a big deal. So I wasn't having hopes of Raw being having like low ratings. I mean a high rating.
The other reason.
I have another reason as well too. What was your other reason going to be?
I was talking on my show prior with my so-called pops, my fish tank, that the one thing about our football game on Sunday when it was you never had time to go to the bathroom except at halftime. The problem with the Raw, 3 hours, way too long, too many bathroom breaks.
That's exactly. I was
it
just
doesn't work. SmackDown is hard. It's on Fox. It's on a network cable station. It's not on USA. It's not on a station that everybody has. For me in Canada, you have to have something called Sportsnet, which is like a sports channel that sometimes airs it. And I do get it live, but if there's like a sporting event happening, it goes on a secondary channel, so you're not getting it easily. And plus, it's way too long. There's too much filler. People get bored. Like most of us who watch 3 hours worth of Raw spend maybe a total of 92 hours max. For a good hour of it, you don't watch nothing. You're just having it on mute and you're looking at another show and you're multi-watching. Oh, what happened? Let me rewind and let me go back and see what happened.
That's a 3 hour show, and I can give you everything that I don't get USA at all, and I can watch the highlights on YouTube, and I can tell you what happened.
Yeah.
Every week, blah blah blah, Judgment Day, blah blah, Seth Rollins, blah blah, Cody Rhodes,
that's exactly the reason why I was going to say too, because like I'm starting to see that as well. Like at first, Raw being 3 hours was like a good thing at the time, and it's like now it's starting to get a little bit like, hey, honestly, and I'm starting to like not even finish watching Raw. That's how crazy it is because it's 3 hours long. Like. I don't even much get past the second hour of the Raw and things like that on most nights and things. So
like roller coasters, but you don't want to sit on one for 3 hours.
No, it's like the same way when you go to a show, right? Like when you go to a concert, you have a break in between, or when you go to people go to Broadway shows, there's an intermission for a reason. Like the problem with Raw is they don't have an intermission, and when you go to see a 3 hour movie, you always make sure you go pee before you go. You're going to start, your legs start to shake a little bit 2 hours into it. Oh my God, I still have another hour. That's what Raw is. Unless you have constant engagement and constant highlights, like WrestleMania. WrestleMania, you could sit there for 4 hours. We don't care. Premium live events, we can sit there for 3 hours. And remember, we always joke around whenever we do our preview shows. There's always a bathroom match, right?
Right.
The problem is there's too many bathroom matches on Raw.
That's true. Yeah, that is true. So yeah,
like Akira Tozawa versus The Miz. Like no one's watching that match. No one's watching that match.
We already know Miz is squashing to make a point. We already knew that from the get go. He's going to squash him to make a point to LA Knight. Like
are we going to keep that going? Because that'll be fun. Miz and LA Knight. Are we going to keep that going?
Oh yeah, they need to keep it going.
That'll be fun, especially when Miz is still out there. Yeah.
Yeah. That's actually a few that I actually enjoyed so far. So
I'm
out
all
of one
for
of the
it.
few
I'm all for
everything.
it because I mean I
So
don't, you know,
now
it
on
may
the
come as a surprise to everybody, but I'm a big LA Knight guy. Yeah,
right.
big surprise there. But I was glad to see him go up against Miz because finally, you know, yeah, I love the guy, but it does get boring having him squash people on the mic every, you know, week in and week out. And now here's somebody that, you know, can actually hang with him and maybe even challenge him on the mic. I mean, yes, the best thing about the Miz is his wife, and it hasn't been his ring in like 10 years. And, you know, he's a washed up TV star, but mic skills, and he's known for putting people over. That, you know, facts are facts. So, yeah.
God,
And he's got probably the third most punchable face in the WWE. Yeah.
man. To
What,
be honest,
Dominic? What,
he has
Dominic?
the most punchable face to me. Miz. Oh yeah, he has the most to me. I know
Dominic is number one by a mile.
Dominic is
Yeah.
one.
Dom is one. I love him. He's a
I know
workhorse, and
Seth
so is his
Rollins
wife.
number one for
Seth
you.
Rollins is number 2. Miz
No,
is
actually,
3.
you know my most punchable face is? I just want to punch him every time I see it. Is Finn Balor. I could punch him in the
Oh yeah,
face.
no, he's my 4th. Love the guy. Love the guy. If he's
Punch
out
him in the
once
face.
I
by,
have a hard time
Punch
like
him in the
wanting to punch
face.
in.
it's
Like,
the smirk. It's
Yeah.
that smirk. And as much as I'm a fan of him, I've got the Finn 14 Staples shirt. You know, it was great. I showed somebody that's never seen like 30 seconds of a wrestling match his Hell in a Cell with Edge. When he got hit with the ladder, they legit thought for about 30 seconds that man was dead.
Yeah.
so
I mean,
the last thing I
that was
want
great.
to
Yeah,
go
Balor, love
over,
him, but yeah,
it's actually a thing me and Ryan did earlier at work and everything. I kind of came up with, so we can still do the same thing, right? It'll be the same wrestlers. So
All right.
Evan, so what I'm gonna do is we can discuss it and things like that. So I'm gonna do 10 wrestlers. So it's not gonna be obvious ones. So I'm gonna do 10 wrestlers, and we just gonna decide. Notice, Ryan, I didn't give my answers. I saw you when you gave your answers
yeah.
earlier today at work. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I
name
noticed
10
that you didn't.
wrestlers.
I just
And
thought you got busy because you're the only one that works over there.
right,
Yeah.
right. So it's gonna be 10 wrestlers. It's gonna be former wrestlers. It's gonna be current wrestlers. So it's in between. It's not gonna be obvious ones. So we're gonna decide. You're gonna say whether you preferred their work when they were a heel or a face.
Okay.
Like it could be like any stint or any gimmick they had as like a wrestler and everything. So it's not gonna be obvious ones. So it's not gonna be like obviously like somebody like Miz. We know he was obviously better as a heel. Obviously, that's like an easy answer.
I go
things
back.
like that.
I go back 35 years with wrestling, so I pretty much
Yeah, so we good. We good on that one.
No problem here.
It ain't like Stone Cold. We know obviously he's better as a
Encyclopedia
face,
Evan.
things like that. So all right. So let's get this started. So the first one wrestler I want to mention is Eddie Guerrero. Whoever want to go first and mention if you like him as a face and why, or a heel or why. Like any
My
run.
favorite, for me, my most enjoyable thing with him was the mix of heel. He's better as a face. He was a heel turning into a face when he was Mamacita. Like the whole Mamacita China thing for me was the most hilarious. The lie, cheating, and stealing thing that he did with when he was winning the belt. Like, but for me, it's more the face, just because you want. He was that guy. He's a heel, but you were so excited when he became a face. I loved it. I was more of a face guy for Eddie Guerrero.
Okay, what about you, Ryan?
You know, I used to. Guy was brilliant doing this. He got under my skin so bad. I called him Latino cheat.
Yeah.
Just heel. I loved
him as a face.
I love the lying snake in the grass, cheating. You know, anything to win.
Him and Chavo.
Him and Chavo.
That's what I was gonna say. But
his face run. Around that time and everything, the Latino heat, because he was over at the time with Latino Heat when he teamed when he was with China, and then with the lie, cheating, steal thing as a face was actually pretty good. His WCW run as a heel wasn't. I mean, he was still like
LWO. That's what.
Yeah, I was say with the LWO and things like that. It wasn't like that crazy to me, but like his face run and things like that. That's around those when he was with WWE was my favorite ones. That's the first one. The second one is going to be the Undertaker. Did you prefer? I know your answer, Ryan. Did you prefer his face runs more or his heel turns more? His heel runs more. I'm sorry. And I'm pretty sure we probably gonna have a different answer on this one.
Me or
Go.
Ryan?
Either one.
I'll do the damn thing. So because this gimmick is one of only 3 to ever legit freak me the hell out, heel, because Ministry Taker was just on another level.
Yeah, it was amazing.
I understand that, him doing that character, from what I've read, it kind of went against some of his own, the man Mark Calloway's personal beliefs a little bit to be doing that kind of thing. But if that was the case, and the fact that he still, did it that well, I mean, I wish they had done more with that, because I felt like it just was there, and then all of a sudden the whole ministry was just gone. And it was for the most part a bunch of mid-card guys, but it was giving them some kind of stepping stone. I mean, it seemed to work out well for Edge and Christian. That was a build for them. But yes, I know the ministry is always associated with the absolute worst, twist of, it's me, Austin. I know, but Ministry Taker, heel taker, I loved it.
It was 100%. Honestly,
scared the hell out of me as a kid.
I love Mark Calloway. I love him as a face when he had different elements. The reason I liked him more as a heel is the day I couldn't trust him as a face is the day he walked out on a fucking motorcycle. American Badass. I'm telling you, I don't understand it for the life of me to this day.
Oh my God! How
you go from a pallbearer building coffins in the darkness of a cemetery to I am an American Badass. And when you're coming
down the ramp to Limp Bizkit,
you're gonna hate my answer, because I prefer Taker as a face.
No. I don't know if you remember this match. I think maybe The Rock was getting beaten up, and then there was and one day you came out and you see the American, and at the end of the show of Raw, it comes out and you see Kane standing next to his brother of destruction, American Badass. And this is the same guy who he fought in a fire match as the Undertaker. It doesn't make any sense to me.
No, it doesn't.
They needed to keep his run consistent. The whole the fact that he came out on a motorcycle, and the last time he spoke to Bray Wyatt was as American Badass. But when you saw him in his Hall of Fame speech, he looked like the Undertaker.
Thank God.
Be completely, because he had no American Badass feel during his Hall of Fame speech. He was purely the Undertaker. So that's what. And also, how does an Undertaker drive a motorcycle? I've never seen that.
That was
my answer, because I prefer Taker as a face. Like his when he first came up in WWE, like
no biker Taker,
gimmick and things like that. I love American Badass Taker. Like, that's my favorite.
It doesn't make any sense.
But it's the fact. I mean, it's the fact that he revealed he's from Houston. For one, he lives in Houston. They got me psyched up when I found out he lived in Houston. And then he came out at the time. Rolling was the number one song out, like at the time, like rock and roll song at least, and everything. So he comes out and it's like, hey,
don't call that rock and roll. Don't do that. Don't do that.
So like,
don't do that.
So whatever genre it is. So like, I prefer his face side more than his heel side on that one.
No, the only time, I'll agree with Ryan. Will agree with me. The only time we enjoyed him as a face is when he destroyed John Cena at WrestleMania.
Oh,
if I may, yeah. I'm all for seeing John Cena get punched in the face.
Exactly.
God bless him. The man, yeah, great. But every time he comes back, I'm like, what Make-A-Wish kid asked for this?
Exactly.
And then the next one, this guy
sound heartless, but.
And then the next one, this wrestler, he probably has the record for most heel and face turns ever. And I counted. He has the record is 3,875 heel and face turns. Like, I actually count. Well, I'm joking on that part, but you get the point. You get the point. Big Show. You could say Giant, Big Show. Obviously, the same person. Did y'all prefer his run as a face, like his face side, or his heel side better?
Heel.
100% heel.
100%
because he just needs to stand there, be scary, and shut the hell up.
Yeah, like when he was getting punted, this was a guy who was getting as a face was getting punted by Randy Orton. Punted.
Yeah.
Okay, it never made any sense.
Yeah, especially since he weighs as much as 5 Randy Ortons.
Exactly.
I think Big Show's calf weighs as much as Randy Orton. Like, that was not again.
And by the way, the only time he's a funny heel, the only time he's a funny face is my kids actually watched the show. Is when he had the Big Show. There's actually a television show on Disney or Netflix. That there he's funny.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's true. I'm gonna do 2 more since we're like almost about to run out of time. So this one, Ryan, we didn't discuss like when we was at work earlier. So and I kind of forgot to mention this one. And it's not as obvious as you might think either. The Rock.
Heel.
Hollywood Rock.
You like Hollywood Rock?
Hollywood Rock. Yeah, I mean Hollywood. You know,
he was even a heel when he faced Cena. Like
Hollywood Rock.
This is the best. Like when he does the birthday thing. Except the only time I enjoyed him as a face is the Rock and Sock connection because he was still slightly a heel, and then Mick Foley sort of turned him. But when he was part of Vince McMahon and all that kind of stuff, I enjoyed that.
You enjoyed that one? To be honest, I like to me it's actually tougher than I thought because like
heel.
If I like both, like I mean that shows testament how great The Rock is because it's like kind of a tough question to answer. But to be honest, like, I'm kind of leaning toward his heel run more. I mean, not run, but like his heel.
He was funnier as a heel.
Huh? He's way funnier as a heel because one, I think he comes off naturally as funny, obviously. So most of the heels is like their main job is to get under your skin. So if you make jokes or something along those lines to get under your skin to get heat, The Rock was almost the king of that at the time. I think so.
Followed by Jericho, maybe.
Yeah, that one too. Yeah.
So Alfred, what was your final? Which one do you prefer?
The heel.
It doesn't matter which one.
The heel. So the heel one for The Rock. And then so the final one I'm gonna say, like I said, I'm not doing the obvious ones because we know if I chose Hogan, we're gonna say, hey, Hogan, his heel. I like his heel run more than his face run. I think the majority of people probably gonna say his heel run when he was with the NWO, unless y'all say anything different. But I'm pretty sure
Hogan in the 80s and 90s is kind of why we're all sitting here. You know, I mean,
exactly. Say your prayers, need your vitamins.
So the last one I'm gonna say is Chris Jericho.
Heel. All day heel.
You like the heel?
Y2J.
All day heel.
Is it bad enough I like his face version more? Is heel?
All day heel. All day
every day heel.
Yeah, I think same with The Rock. As long as he's roasting Stephanie McMahon, I'm all there for it.
The thing is, when you mentioned that, Ryan, when you was mentioning roasting Stephanie, he did most of that as a face.
Excuse me. You know what you just did? You know what you just did, Alfred?
Which one?
You just made the list. That's not as a face. That's not as a face. That is not okay. And he's from Winnipeg. I get a bias because he's from Winnipeg, Manitoba. So he's Canadian.
I thought he was really from New York.
No, he was born in Winnipeg, Manitoba. They actually just gave him the key to the city.
I thought he was from Toronto.
No, Winnipeg.
Nah,
he's got dual citizenship.
He's Winnipeg's favorite son. Like,
it was the joke the fan made. He was like, "I'm from Winnipeg, you idiot."
Yeah. But no, you just made the list is one of the most iconic lines in the history. Like when my coach
one of 1,001 holds.
I just say to him when he instead of benching, I go, "You just made the list." And I write their name on the list, and they get all upset. Like it's the best.
That's great.
Oh man,
put his on the list.
Everything. So it's like.
By the way, my favorite heel. You didn't bring him up. My favorite heel but you also want to cheer for him of all time in WWE is Kurt Angle because when you see him, he's my favorite because he was a phenomenal heel that you could never. Because I wanted a gold medal with a broken freaking neck. But the guy was phenomenal because the guy was such an athlete, but such a funny heel. And then
I mentioned one with Ryan, because he I think he wasn't following wrestling at the time, but Evan, you probably know this one. It was like a little underrated heel run, but R-Truth.
Yeah.
Like R-Truth as a heel, when he completely hated the what chants. Like
I just know everybody thinks he's funny as hell.
It's fun. Yeah, that's what I was saying. But as a face, he's good. I mean, as a face, he was pretty good because he had his music, he come out and everything. But his heel run with the Miz and everything when he was teaming up, like I don't think that gets too much. It deserves a lot more credit than it actually got because he legit was pissed off at the what chance. It was so funny, like when he was a heel.
I told this story to Alfred and to Alex on one of the shows. the day I like literally almost wet my pants. I'm a bigger guy. I'm 6'3". Back, I was what was I 8? I was like 18, 19. I was like almost like 6 feet back in the day. I got to meet Ken. I was in a hotel. I come downstairs. I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, who walks in? Ken Shamrock. And I go to myself, and that's when he was a heel, and he was part of McMahon's group and all that. Oh my God! Like that was a scary heel to me. Like this guy, UFC, the big the UFC guy who made it in the WWE. Like talk about a talent. Because he's the guy who designed the ankle lock, all that kind of stuff. That was a heel to me. That was a scary heel. And he's small and
legit mess your world up.
Phenomenal talent.
I mean, Steve Blackman,
yeah. But who's your favorite? Who's your favorite heel of all time?
Yeah.
Who's your favorite heel of all time, though? Like the last 20 years, who's your favorite heel?
My favorite heel of all time. Last 20.
Yeah.
Woo!
Like this
that's
decade.
A tough
this
question.
Decade.
Last 20
years.
years. So
if you have to look it up, what's your
32.
favorite heel of all time? Your favorite heel of all time. Make it easy.
Oh, Triple H.
The person you hate, Triple H.
Yeah, that's the one I legit like. That was my favorite heel of all time. I legit hated. Like you said 20 years ago. So 20 years ago, I was 12 years old. So around that time, it was 2002. I want to say. Yeah, I legit hated Triple H. His heel run, and then when when HBK came back and everything, it was like DX was about to reform, and he beat the hell out of HBK and had that match. Like Triple H, that's my favorite heel of all time.
I don't believe him much as a face.
Yeah, for sure.
When they bring him up for these press conferences, Paul, Triple H, Levesque, and then he's this nice guy in a suit. Like it just doesn't fit for me. It's just so awkward.
No, it doesn't.
That's true. Triple H is my all-time favorite heel. I mean, we could say if you went past 20 years, I would have said Vince McMahon.
Shane was worse. Shane was funnier. Shane was funnier.
Vince, he was like that boss you just want to beat the hell out of.
And that's why Austin and McMahon worked.
Yeah, that's why the feud worked because of that very reason.
He had a boss they wanted to punch in the face. Every kid that was watching had a teacher they wanted to punch in the face. That's why it worked.
Don't we all have that dream of hitting our boss with a bedpan?
I hope my boss ain't listening, but yeah, that's true.
I hope she's not either.
Right.
Certain ones, there's certain.
If I hit mine, I'm going to jail for a long time if I do that.
Now wait, are we talking about the one immediately there or the one above? You know what? Never mind. You don't have to answer that.
Exactly.
You don't have to answer that.
So like we about to run out of time and everything, but it was a great show. I enjoyed both you all gentlemen for joining, Evan and Ryan.
Always a pleasure.
Evan,
Most
if you want
to
plug yourself in, just say what they can find you and things like that.
You can find me all throughout the Finns Talk Sports Network. I'm co-hosting the pregame show. We don't just talk Miami Dolphins, but we also talk about all the NFL, and we predict all the NFL games. I'm also co-hosting the post-game show, any Miami Dolphins game. You'll catch me every Thursday night on the Finns bandwagon. And I'm behind the scenes producing probably 5 or 6 shows a week for the network. And if you want to find me on my new X handle, I'm the George Costanza of the network. So you can find me at Finstanza on X, or not X, Twitter.
Okay. Ryan, you want to plug yourself in, even though you're
sure, absolutely. Where can you find me most of the time? On Thursday night at 8:00 in the comments section. That's usually
8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern.
Yeah, there you go.
Right.
What time is that in Canada? No, I'm kidding.
We're on Eastern time. We're Eastern time.
Like the Eagles is pouring up on the Vikings. So
yeah, the Vikings just scored again.
Good. I'm fine with it. Anytime the Bears or the Vikings or the Lions lose, that's a good day. Yeah.
You all can find me.
Yeah. For me,
if you want to troll, especially if you definitely want to follow me on Saturday, because if we lose to TCU, I might be saying some things on Twitter that I might have to regret. So you can find me on A_Matthew713 if you want to be entertained by my tweets and things like that. So for the next time, we'll be back on not next Tuesday, but the Tuesday after. So Thursday, if y'all want to join us, feel free to join us. That's the 28th.
Not Tuesday.
So if you want to join us on
Thursday. Put the pipe down.
Yeah, Thursday. I thought I said Thursday.
Yeah.
And everything. So
Yeah.
in the
I
meantime,
think he
we'll
just
see
made the
y'all on the
list.
28th. So peace.
Peace.